All right, well, thank you, everybody. Welcome tonight. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And then the first agenda item is to approve the minutes from our January 17th meeting.
Madam Chair, I have a number of suggestions for the minutes. The first suggestion, if I may, on page 1, agenda item 2, final report, into the third paragraph of that section. The last sentence says discussion ensued with the committee concluding that general law. I'm not sure what's meant by general law. Miles, do you know what was meant by general law? Is there a bylaw?
Oh, yeah.
A general bylaw?
Massachusetts general law chapter.
So maybe we should say Massachusetts general law.
Or NGO.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
40C.
40C.
40C and make that reference to 40C. Does not permit review of the color used in roofing. And then we say, though material would be permissible for review. That's that last section. Though material would be permissible for review is inconsistent with our FAQs. I have multiple town meeting items in my mind, forgive me. At number 8, which says that color or roofing material are excluded items from review. So I just think we should double check with Mass General Law, Chapter 40C, to just confirm which is correct, and then reflect that in the minutes and, if necessary, the FAQ.
Well, I read item 8 as color of paint or roofing material, not like the material itself, just the color of the roofing material.
Yes, then that would be correct. 40C can govern the material used on the roof, but not the paint. And but to your point, could definitely be clarified in the FAQs.
So then I would strike. So under 40C, I don't have it in front of me, forgive me, I don't know offhand. Are you confirming that 40C allows the roofing material to be subject to review? Great. So then I would, in the FAQ, I would just keep it to color of paint and then strike.
Or to say
roofing
color
material.
paint or color.
So when we get to
material.
FAQ, we'll,
Yes, or
Well-
color of roofing material.
right,
Yeah,
so,
or-
Certainly.
right, so the minutes then are reflected accurately is what you're saying,
Yes,
and then we'll deal with the FAQ.
yes.
Great, so we'll just
exactly.
remember, make a
Yes,
note to get
thanks
there
very
when we get
much.
to the roof.
That's right.
Okay,
My next comment on the minutes, if you wish, on the second page, second paragraph, it says Ms. Borelli covered. Do we want to say Ms. Borelli stated? I've never heard of covered in that area, but it doesn't matter to me.
You could say covered the final reports draft, that would be,
Oh,
or you could
yes,
say,
strike
you can
that.
say-
or stated that the final draft
stated,
article
that's
would
probably
be.
easier, we'll just
Okay,
say
Yeah.
stated.
so we'll change cover to stated and keep that. Lovely. Next paragraph, second sentence. And I would strike final report and just say the motion was accepted unanimously. Miles, did you get that? Because that particular motion is relating to the referral to the select board. There's a previous motion made for the final report to be adopted. That might have been a copy and paste.
I have no objection.
It
Uh,
refers to the previous paragraph, which says the vote was for the referral.
So.
Mr. Block asked if the final report required referral. The select board, the committee deliberated and agreed to take this action. A motion to refer the final report to the select board
Was submitted, but then,
So final, yes,
Mhm.
that last sentence doesn't
yeah,
follow.
therefore I would just say the motion was accepted unanimously. And then I wasn't sure in the next paragraph, agenda item 3, if we were missing anything after with. Or is that just the paragraph Ms. Borelli asked if members wish to, is that connected or are we missing something after with? Discussion regarding logistics ensued with. And then I don't know what's,
That breaks off.
yeah,
That would be a typo. That should have continued into the next paragraph.
okay, so we strike with,
Mhm.
sentence ends at ensued. new paragraph, new sentence, Ms. Borelli asked. Excellent. Next paragraph, I would strike which. In the second line. Motion to adjourn was accepted unanimously.
Hi, Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Apologize to the committee for my tardiness.
Always a pleasure to see you.
All right, did you get the last? Okay,
And then my final comment is final sentence where it says next meeting. Will be April 15, it should be April 17. And with that, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as revised this evening.
Second.
any more discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the minutes with the proposed edits?
Aye.
Aye.
I will abstain as I was not at that meeting.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Let's move to the warrant article FAQs and let's go in order. Does anybody need a paper copy of them?
You have an excellent
I
answer.
believe we do there.
Coming down the line.
It's two
All right.
pages. Oh, here we go. Yeah. All right, so I say let's just go through it one by one to see if there are any questions, comments, or edits. So number one, why is this article being proposed?
That was good.
Just a question. When I was in office, there was an effort by the Historical Commission to strengthen the demolition restrictions.
Mhm.
And that predated 2021, so this is more long-standing than the FAQ indicates. Is that important to note here or not?
I think there was a previous effort and really the LHD study. I think that's accurate for the LHD study. And we had previous efforts, we previously looked at ways to strengthen the preservation, the various, preservation mechanisms, but this particular mechanism,
Right,
this is correct for that. It doesn't refer back to any of the other.
I mean, just that there was a
Yeah.
long-standing effort to preserve historic buildings. Somehow, I don't know what the wording would be.
So you want to add something to this?
Yeah, it gives perspective that this is the result, this is the latest effort, a longstanding effort to preserve the
Historically significant. assets.
historic inventory of the town.
Do you have a prior year that we want to specify? Do you want?
Then why don't you say something like, for several years, the Needham Historical Commission was seeking ways of more effectively preserving blah, blah, blah.
Yes,
Since 2021, in consultation with the Mass Historical Commission.
yes,
Good.
that's excellent.
Do you have that revised wording?
Yeah, I didn't write that down.
Okay, so take out, move since, you okay?
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Okay, so do you want to start again where you had the edit?
Okay, so for many years,
So starting the first paragraph instead
so
of.
starting at the beginning, for many years. The Needham Historical Commission, end of sentence. Since 2021, comma, in consultation with the Mass Historical Commission, end of sentence, end of paragraph.
Do we need an A between in that last sentence, historic districts as a possible means to this end? I'm just kind of struggling with the fluidity of that. As
Yeah,
possible
as a
means.
possible means to this end.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on paragraph, or excuse me, question one?
None for me.
All right, let's look at number two, please.
Okay, if I may.
Mhm.
I think it's more true that it was sort of a mutual effort. We didn't approach the historical commission so much as the historical commission was well aware of our interest And we were aware, we being the owners, we're aware of the historical commission's interest. So it's kind of a mutual.
Right.
We did not initiate this solely. It was kind of a mutual
Effort.
realization that there needed to be a template property and that we were willing and interested. I don't know if that's your recollection or not, Gloria.
Yeah.
I defer to you on
Yeah.
that also.
Um,
It's
Yeah.
a small point, but I think it's important.
But you want, I understand
I
you want to
agree.
put that the
Yeah.
owners sort of secondary
Right,
to the goal of
right,
preservation or
because it's
establishing
for
a
the
district.
town.
Okay,
And it also is in our interest because we want to preserve the property.
what do we have?
There's something like, the NHC decided to approach the select board with its no apostrophe request for prioritization. As a formalized goal, the owners of 3 Rosemary Street, aware of this effort, offered the NAC to use their property
Right.
for the establishment of Needham's first historic district.
Yeah. If that's accurate, I think. one-
Yeah, that's accurate. Does that sound okay?
The wording is very good.
To
Let's see if we
use
can do
their
it again.
property, to
To,
use their property feels a little funny, to
Yeah.
use their property.
Designate?
To include their
to
property.
include their
to
property.
Designate.
Designate, yeah.
To use suggests they're like another end, right? And we're on a path to
It just
something, but
means to an end.
yeah,
Yeah.
to include maybe. It's good.
So do I need to repeat that?
Would this be basically flipping the two, so saying
Yeah.
the NHC approached the select board of its request for prioritization as a formalized goal? The owners of 3 Rosemary Street, Kingsbury House, approached the NHC and asked that their property would be considered for inclusion in the town's.
I think most trying to get away from approach the
Mhm.
NHC.
I think I said owners at 3 Rosemary Street aware of this effort.
Mhm.
Right,
Expressed interest.
Yeah, express interest
and offered to.
to the NHC.
Include their property
Right.
Yeah,
in the first district to be established.
there's no apostrophe in its. Um,
No.
Yeah, when we're done with those first 2 paragraphs, I've got some. Because I think the first 2 paragraphs go together. So my suggestion, I'll just throw out, I'd love to hear people's responses, to separate question 2 into 2 questions. The first being the first 2 paragraphs about how it was selected and developed. That can just very clearly, how was the publication of the process?
That would
That makes
become
sense.
number
That one.
3.
I think, because that's typically a big question.
People want to, yes,
And-
so to separate it and call it
Yeah.
out, absolutely.
Mhm.
Word.
Is the text, the answer there satisfactory?
Let me finish reviewing it
Okay.
again.
The second paragraph should say Mass General Law 40C. Or is it
Yeah.
Second
necessary?
paragraph under 2.
think it
Using a
should.
process defined by Mass General Law, the committee developed 2 reports.
Add 40C.
Yeah,
like
add
that.
40C.
Yeah,
Actually, in that same sentence, since we're there, again, using a process to me suggests there were several processes that they could have chosen, and we used a process. So how about following the process?
Yeah,
good point.
good.
Would people agree that the first 2 paragraphs? kind of go with the-
Mhm.
Yes.
the
That makes
selecting
complete
development?
sense.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And then I'm fine with the text in the last 2 paragraphs for the new question 3.
I would just question number 5. Is it now 6?
Yeah. Everything.
What do you mean?
Everything moves up.
Six.
Everything.
Say through with 5 to date public
Meeting.
meetings.
Oh,
Oh,
I would say, through its, public meetings, 6 to date. The committee received.
Yeah, and then we'll renumber after.
Mhm, mhm.
Did we technically receive public input? Or did we just offer it?
we
We
offered
offered.
it
I don't think we received
I
it.
don't believe we receive.
But we're saying we did.
very briefly.
Well,
We received
we
public-
shouldn't say we did because there was no.
There were a couple
set
of
public-
questions, weren't there?
There were questions technically received from our solicitation for public input. They were not relevant to the specific process
Yes, they
that this committee is going through, more related to what about future historic districts and can a specific building be considered? It was received, but not relevant per se to this specific process.
I don't know if we want to parse that deeply, but.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't parse that deeply
Yeah.
because those are legitimate questions in terms of considering whether to
Mhm.
establish this method.
That's fine.
And we did receive feedback from MHC,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes,
That's,
we
Oh,
did.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
as well as the planning board for that matter.
Certainly been a public process.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we divided that into 2 questions. Are there any comment on what was question 2? All right, so I'll just, the next one, why is the proposed district only 1 house?
I have no comment or question.
That will be number 4 now, correct?
It would be number 4 now.
We want to stress the voluntary nature of the effort.
On who's behalf, on who.
Not at this point, I think, but I think later, yes, so
Okay.
in 7 and 8, I think. Or 5, 6, now 6.
Right. Okay, so we're okay with this question?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, so the next one, which would be nearly 5, are single parcel districts common.
That's definitive.
Is that a question a lot of people have?
That is a question.
It is.
Yes.
Most numbers, 55% of them are single parcels.
Right, but
Yeah.
most people don't know that.
Yeah.
The questions I've gotten on the street, just walking around town, people ask if anybody else do that. any of the
Yeah,
communities
Finance
do
committee.
that.
Why is it only 1 house? Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
people say
It's a
that.
legitimate question.
Mhm.
All right, newly numbered 6, how would future districts be formed?
Think that. Um. That's probably the best place to note that property owners are part of the process.
Required to be part of.
Yeah, at least one property owner from the proposed district is required to be part of the process.
Doesn't say how it starts.
Right.
Yeah.
That was my thought.
I think it's also true that from our meetings with the Mass Historical Commission, that individual properties within a proposed district that was multi-building,
Hmm.
multi-property, could be exempted.
Yeah, you can have, they prefer not, but you could have Swiss cheese districts.
Right.
And honest, to me, having a slightly imperfect district would be better than having no district at all, But
The importance of that
Okay,
is that
okay.
some people may be
Okay.
worried that they would be forced
Yeah.
into a district
If they were
against their will.
Mhm.
And certainly from my perspective, that wasn't my intent in being involved with this, and I can't speak for the commission.
I think you need sort of 2 more points in that section.
Okay.
What it doesn't say, it says following the single parcel district, following the process to include public hearing, submission to MAC, MAC vetting by the planning board and drafting a warrant article. It doesn't say the formation of a committee.
Right,
Because every new district is gonna require a new study committee. And that study committee is gonna have to include at least one member
of the district.
of the district being proposed.
The committee.
Right now it says if it passes, the town would establish a committee. Which would, we're responsible for considering future proposed districts. So that one committee does all the districts.
That's a question I do not know the answer to.
That's what I interpret that to be.
As study committee or as,
This-
So they're two separate things.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, the
study
historic-
committee is
yeah.
different from the historic.
the
districts
historic
com-
district committee.
Would then create,
As one of their,
well, I actually don't, are they the body
No,
that creates?
I think
appoints it,
the
or is it
select board would create a new study committee.
I'm pulling up the language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is the select board.
Yeah, the historic district committee, which would then would manage the historic district. I think that's fluid. You could have one for the whole town. Say we've got 5 historic districts. You could have one historic district committee that deals with all of them, or each one can have its own committee.
As long as the
In
residents
big, yeah,
is is
yeah,
included
as
in
long
that
as the resident is
process.
included. I think for a big city, like Somerville, to have one would be ridiculous. For Needham to have 5 might be ridiculous, but
I mean, would it be something simple to write? Important to note that the committee, the
Mhm.
study committee will include at least one member of each new
must
district.
include.
Must by
What did I
law.
say?
You said
Whatever.
will, yeah, but
Must,
must
fine.
include.
Must,
yeah,
must
so-
include. So maybe it's just something to note.
Yeah, but I think you need to step back. The process is state law driven process, the single parcel start followed to include public hearings. I think you have to say something like, this begins with the formation of
A study committee.
a study committee for that proposed-
District.
district, which must include at least one homeowner from the district,
This begins with the formation of a
One owner,
committee.
it could be a business.
one owner within the district,
Can you-
one property owner. within
This
the
begins with
district.
the formation of a committee that must include one.
Study
At least
committee.
a study committee, a new study committee
Okay,
for that proposed district.
it must include one.
It must
owner.
include at least one property owner within the proposed district.
Do future historic district is a question. The future historic district proposals have to start with the select board? If that's the case, how does this process differ from the next one, if there is a next one?
So the commission here, and I've got it pulled up here. The Historic District Commission as being established here and populated with residents
Right,
appointed by the select board would be the party that would determine whether a new district would be issued this certificate of appropriateness or the application of a certificate. So it would be the commission that would basically do the same process of the preliminary study report and all that again, but would have to include in its process. amendment.
right, but it wouldn't.
Well, the certificate
would
is-
require the select board to, no, because you don't want to burden the select board with
Well, I think you do.
The select
Um,
board will have established the new commission.
Well,
This,
that's
this
the
is a
question.
one-off, right? And after this,
Mhm.
it was my understanding
I'm
that
just
they
trying to
would.
understand the
Actually-
difference between this effort and.
Allison, in that
Future.
first line,
Mhm,
warrant would establish a historic district commission, not committee.
that makes, okay, that's
So,
part of
yeah,
where the
so we're the
confusion is.
committee, they'll
Okay,
be the
so-
commission.
So,
Mhm.
correct, so the warrant article creates a commission for every new proposed historic district. There needs to be a historic district study committee, which we said
Yes.
must
two
include,
separate committees.
must include a resident. The question now is who appoints that committee?
That's right,
Yeah.
that's the question.
Who appointed this study committee?
Select board.
because there was no permanent standing commission, they had to appoint this, but once we
Yeah.
once the select
The
board has
commission
appointed. A historic commission, I would think that body then takes care of the study
Do we have
committees.
a sample list of charges for historic district commissions in other towns?
Or do we know to?
Must be in there
say,
somewhere.
We should have that answer.
Yep,
Is there something in our
Definitely.
general bylaws?
hold on, I'm gonna look it up right here.
So the
And-
Historic District Commission established by this bylaw. Hmm,
We're looking at the charge.
I'm looking to see if it's included in our report, and then I'll go back and, I think
that-
Miles has the law pulled up, so he's there.
And that was vetted by the Mass Historical Commission, so.
Yeah, so this commission. Can, local establishment establishes the Historic District Commission to administer it,
Well, this is responsible for considering future proposed districts.
yeah.
After that study. So it's like a two-level system. So this, if this passes the town meeting, the historic district commission gets formed.
Yeah.
There may never be an application for it.
Correct.
That could happen.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to report back to the committee.
Okay.
Within the next few days, by the end of the week, with an answer to this question. As well as appropriate language within this section to speak about future district formation. As well as the individual property owner's role in starting that process. As well as context to Gloria's point about district formation not needing to be contiguous. And the importance of property owners' thoughts and feelings about this. If that is all right, with the chair.
Perfect, thank you, that
Thank you,
works.
Miles.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, if Allison and I are residents of a new proposed district,
Okay,
and I want to preserve my house and Allison's house as both being historically significant. And Allison, for instance, were not to pick on you,
That's good.
were to,
All right.
were to oppose it.
Yeah.
Is the homeowner's opposition to it enough to exclude her property from the district?
could be.
So I think what
I hope
happens
so.
is that goes through the
Or
pub,
does it
so,
go through the
so
town
I think it would be, no, I think it would go through the public process, and then somebody jump in if I'm incorrect, would still go through the public process like this, and then whatever committee is sitting here
Recommend.
would make that decision as to whether or not to include that property in the proposed district.
And presumably that property owner, Allison in this case, would come to that meeting. and
Every
make your
meeting.
case.
Yeah.
Right.
Be there. Yeah, I think that's what it would be, right? Am I?
That would be correct, and if I recall correctly from council's explanation of this as well as MHC's, even if this committee were to kindly ignore
Mhm.
said residents' opposition, town meeting would also have to ignore
Right.
said residents'
Yeah.
opinion.
Because that's the ultimate,
Right.
Yeah.
Town meeting
You
still
can-
needs
you
to
can
vote
appeal.
any.
so an
new
aggrieved
district.
resident proposed to be their property proposed to be included in the new district.
Mm.
Could, in spite of the recommendation made by the commission. Make their case as well at town meeting for town meeting to decide, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would certainly want protection for people who don't. opt
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
And I
involved.
think the public process and then ultimately going to a town meeting vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
So can I just ask, we're still on 6.
Yeah.
Why is the warrant including these two different things? One being designating 3 Rosemary historic property, and the other being the town forming historic district commission. Why is that? Why do those two things end up in the same warrant? It's almost two different things. I would think as a town meeting member, I'd want to weigh in separately on those. I'd want to evaluate your property. And then consider separately
I-
the select board or the town's plan to form a more permanent body.
I thought it was almost the reverse order, that first. First we as the town meeting body. we contemplate the creation of the commission. And then we have a property to be protected specifically.
I think they're coming, it's together.
I believe it
Right.
states that
It's-
you
Right.
can't
it's from the
propose,
Mass General.
you can't propose the district bylaw without
Having
having
a
a
property.
proposed
Right,
district.
That's right.
And
Say that one more time?
You can't propose, in the way the law is set up, you can't propose a district bylaw without actually having a proposed
You need
district.
at least one property to.
You
kick
can't
off.
say, let's just pass this, let's let
Right.
Needham pass the local historic district bylaw, then if we ever need it, it's there. You can't do that. You have to actually
That's right.
bring it in with a specific property as a district in the first case. So they have to be paired.
That's how the process was designed.
But this is not a commission.
no, this
No,
will
we're
then create, so
coming-
the warrant article, when it's passed, will create both the Historic District Commission.
Mhm.
So that's what the bylaw is
Yeah, that's
establishing,
clear.
right?
Just-
In addition to the local historic, single parcel local historic district.
So they're happening concurrently, even though one has to come first. We're asking them to look at it
No, I-
concurrently.
Yeah,
Two
you're saying
things
the
have to
law-
happen concurrently in the first case. The two have to happen together.
Okay.
Now, in
So
the
does this
future,
New Historic District Commission then review 3 Rosemary? Because it's already been reviewed by this.
No,
No, this
study committee.
establishes the district as well as the commission.
Uh-huh.
Which would be
So-
a one
And it's a
time
necessary
Yeah.
condition
to get it going.
to
is
get
my
it going.
understanding.
Mhm.
Mine too.
But I get your point.
Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't,
so-
I didn't understand frankly for the months and months we've been together that we were in the process of forming a commission. I thought that was the select board's charge,
It's sort of like
but
a
it
fringe benefit.
sounds like
You
yeah.
know, You form a district, you get a committee.
we've been watered and grown and yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels. Okay,
yeah,
so the
so,
law says they have to come together.
For the first
yeah,
one.
Okay, for the first one.
for the first one, and then when you propose districts thereafter, you don't need to go through the bylaw process, you just need to propose the districts. In all
Last, do you have a
subsequent,
comment? Hold on.
Hello,
A bylaw still would need to be passed relative to amending the historic district bylaw to include a new proposed district as.
yeah, but you're not going through the whole
You're
initial
not creating a
process.
new
Yeah,
commission because the
it's a
commission.
platform
Yeah.
to hang off. of.
yeah, it's in it. Items 6 through 9, it should say Historic District Commission and not Historic District Committee. You know, in all cases. So, still on 6, so it should mention that the study committee process has to recommence. It has to include at least one property owner. Is there really a place for voluntary?
Well,
There probably should be.
the public, yeah.
Well, I think that we're sort of saying two things. We've said that this is voluntary, which
Hmm.
it was, but we're also using your example before where it might,
Yeah,
also it wouldn't be, but it would still go through a public process, and
Yeah.
that's the answer to that question. But you're gonna get back to us then on the language for this FAQ
Mhm.
around
Yeah.
who appoints the committee.
Correct. Who appoints the committee and whether or not another study committee would need to be formed, or if the new historic district commission would effectively serve as the study committee with a resident of
With the
a
additional
proposed
resident.
district
That would
being
be,
brought forward
that would
to.
be more streamlined.
Yeah,
And it would be helpful to be able to clearly articulate who the body reports to, like the select board. Who creates who does the appointments of that new committee?
Well, we certainly need to clarify the role of the select board and the historical commission,
Mhm.
not need a historical committee, well. Maybe plenary chair. Those roles need to be clarified for town meeting.
And the FAQ.
Yeah, should be in.
on the Historic
So are you
District Commission,
proposing a question?
There's an historical commission in Needham. right?
yes,
And then there's this.
which is separate from the Historic District Commission.
Right, and the historic district commission has to have a particular composition, if I recall. There needs to be an attorney.
Hmm.
Or is that the study committee?
That's the study committee, I'm
just
not
the
sure,
study.
yeah.
We don't know much about this commission
We
yet, or do we?
No, you do. There is, there is,
I-
there is. So are you
Margaret says that. I
proposing
don't know
an
much about
FAQ about what is the historic district
Commission.
commission? And the difference between the historic commission.
I
Is that
think
what
we
you're
need to-
suggesting?
Yeah, I think that would help,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
people have,
Mhm.
Could they, yeah.
we're a lot more familiar with
Yeah.
it than the
I
average person, and we're having
And why is it
I
not
just
the
learned the history
historical
sector.
society?
was just gonna say that.
I have enough trouble differentiating those
So
two.
can we
Which
please
would be
add,
things to avoid that.
and
Yeah,
I
doesn't
can,
work.
Madam Chair, I can add an entire question that is, how would this commission be different than how would the Historic District Commission be different than the Historic Commission? We can talk about the different two makeups, the different bylaws that they would be responsible for
thank you.
holding hearings relative to,
Mhm.
and we could point out that they are would both be appointed by and report to the select board.
Great. that's
Thank you.
clean.
Thank you.
That works.
I have something else, Madam Chair, another question, again, I'll throw this out, a question, something to the effect of, who may propose a historic district? Question mark.
Okay, as another FAQ.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Is that in the bylaw that we're passing?
Another
I
good
believe it is, right?
It's a copy of this in the warrant article.
our town website.
Yeah.
It is, I've got
Could
it.
be in
It's
the
in
select
the-
board material.
Yeah.
It's in the folder.
And,
Yeah.
and if you have it in front of you, well, page 15 of the study. Well, actually, I'm on the study, I'm not looking at the warrant article, but that is the proposed bylaw. That's where the district shall be overseen by a commission consisting of 5 to 7 members appointed by the select board. Oh, it says it right here, appointed by the select
Mhm.
board. Okay.
Sure.
1 member, it says how many years, and then it says the commission shall include 1 member from 2 nominees listed from the Needham History Center Museum, American Institute of Architects, Greater Boston Association of Realtors, and 1 property owner from within at least one of the district areas.
This is for the Historic
This is from
District
the,
Commission?
yes, it's from
Yeah,
the
state.
bylaw. Yeah. MJ.
But I think it says they would seek to.
Seek to, yeah,
So
I
it's
skipped
not-
over a few words there. So the
It's
you
not,
can't
we have
fill a
to-
slot.
1 member from 2 nominees solicited from the chapter of American Institute of Architects covering Needham, 1 member from 2 nominees of the Greater Boston Association of Realtors covering Needham, and
That could be
1
tricky if it's mandatory, but
No, it's
Shall
not
seek.
mandatory. You
yeah,
have to
just seek
solicit.
to, sure.
Right.
if it
Mhm.
says shall include if possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
Be great if that would.
so 6 is,
I will vote in
how would
accepting
future
that, but
districts
I
be
will pick up
formed?
with the state, why should you have to be an AIA to participate? That's a dues paying organization, that has nothing to do with being a good architect.
Hmm.
End of comment.
on the record.
But you're on the record.
And I'm a member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so on that FAQ, which in front of you says number 5, how would future districts be formed? Are there any other comments? So from that, we're going to get some clarification. Miles will come back to us on the formation of a new study committee with the Historical District Commission serve as the new committee, and then a new FAQ on the differences between the Historical District Commission and the Historic
Commission.
Commission.
The Needham Historical Commission.
That's a historical
Yeah.
commission, okay.
Yeah.
In my hands.
That's impressive.
Say
And then another
that in town meeting
New-
3 times fast.
new FAQ to
Yes, who may
Bob's point,
propose?
who may propose.
So that would be number 8, essentially. Bob's proposing a number 8.
I'm not.
We changed
sure that the
5 to
number is
6.
Critical, but I thought of it when we were just.
Yeah, we'll slot that in. I think that should be slotted in.
Kind of, yeah.
As
In
number
there.
7.
Yep.
Well,
Yes.
7, I thought was what's the difference between the
Would
Historic
become
Commission
number 8.
and the Historic District Commission? That's number 7. And then Bob's is number 8.
Okay,
Right,
Okay, so Bob's, who may propose a historic district is number 8.
okay,
good.
great,
Okay.
Then
All
what
right.
would town meeting rule be would be number 9.
correct.
Yeah.
So the new number 9,
Unless
what
we
would
could
town
still add
meetings role be in establishing future districts? Are there comments on that FAQ?
Lori's already said we're changing committee to commission, right?
Yes.
Can town meeting exempt certain properties from the establishment of such a district?
I mean, can't they make any amendment on town meeting floor?
Yeah, that's a question.
For
I
the
mean, it's-
FAQ.
Well, I think it's an answer we have to have the town meeting, and if we think we have to have a town meeting, it might as well begin right after.
I agree.
How many would be able to vote against this establishment? Doesn't that answer the question? Are you asking?
Voting against or modify?
I think just per our town meeting, you can modify anything on town meeting.
That's true.
Right?
It's not like
Yes, that's right.
CGC.
Yeah, so I think,
Okay.
I don't know that I would,
It's amendable, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to do-
okay,
Good point.
So 9 stays as is.
except commission.
Yep.
All right.
Mhm.
All right, so the next question, what group would be responsible for ensuring compliance with a,
Within.
Thank you.
Within an historic district.
yes, and we know what changing committee to commission. Historic district.
Well, it's not just the historical district committee, it's also the building department has to.
So it
says
says
that-
in the last
says that, yeah.
sentence, it would work with the building commissioner to levy any penalties which may
Right.
need to be imposed.
Right,
It also,
penalties and approvals.
yeah, I was gonna say, because it's also the, you can apply for a certificate of exemption.
For example, somebody could be proposing a demolition, so. I'd ask the building department to flag that.
How does that occur? If I,
There's a flag on the file
They have red
that
files
they have.
for properties that are on the
so if
inventory.
I buy your house and I decide that I wanna demolish it and build a new house,
You have to get a permit.
forgive me. I got a demolition permit and it's in a red
You
file.
wouldn't get a demolition.
go- you
permit,
go
it
to the
would be
buil-
Flagged.
You go to the building department and it would be in a red file and they would say, like, Paul, you have to go.
Like
first.
literally,
There's-
instead
There's
of
another,
this,
there's
instead of this, it's
another,
red.
Yes.
there's
yes.
another process.
Got it.
There's a, yeah, there's a different
Got it.
process.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm not selling to you.
Be
My
warned.
house is from the 1800s. I'm not interested in demolishing yours. Or mine.
Was there another comment though on this question? You were, you said
yes.
something about it would work with the building commissioner to levy any penalties, and did you add some language there?
Yeah, it's not just penalties because you can request exemptions. You can request to get certificates of exemption for
Necessity?
necessity, hardship, or changes that you believe, that fall within the bylaw, but you believe are not detrimental to this, to the spirit of preservation. So there is an adjudication process.
So you just want to add to that sentence, it would work with the building commissioner to levy any penalties which may need to be approved.
I would
Or grant
say-
exemptions that,
I would say we'll work with the building commissioner to
I understand-
grant, I would put exemptions first, to grant any exemptions. Or to consider any requests for exemption. Or levy any penalties which may need to be imposed.
can we just say impose any penalties? What's level, well, level any levy any
Or-
penalties which need to
or-
be imposed?
Yeah, or impose any penalties.
Yeah, those
Who-
words there.
who decides
Impose any
what
penalty.
penalties are?
We have a section in the bylaw.
It's like a daily charge, as I recall, right?
Right,
The
for
commission shall
violation.
determine whether a particular is in violation.
What good it would do, I don't
300
know.
times a day.
Right,
Tear down an 1779 house.
In the case of
How are you gonna remedy that?
that's right, yeah, but
each day during any portion. So a non-criminal disposition fine for each offense. Okay, so it's in there.
I found the Warren article, and I don't know if anybody else has read it, but I found the article information at the bottom, very helpful. Whoever wrote that.
Want to read it to us?
Let me read
Sure.
some salient points. So this article would establish both the district, with all its words, and a historic district commission to oversee this district, any future district, and the initial process by which new districts may be proposed.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah,
Ornico talks about this committee established by the select board to do this. This district would contain one home. Any future proposed historic district would be submitted to the proposed historic district commission, which would study the proposal, publish reports, and if recommending establishment, place a warrant article for town.
So that certainly makes it sound like the new commission also functions as the study committee
Yeah.
with the invitation of the property owner
Yeah.
from the district, the proposed district.
Sounds like a good FAQ.
Yeah, because it doesn't mention study committee.
So it takes a lot of the onus off the select board after this is passed and puts it on the commission.
Yeah, to get it to town meeting.
Okay,
So I would change that last sentence. So we'll work with the building commissioner to consider.
Yeah.
Consider any requested exemptions. And levy any necessary penalties or
The building commissioner or the historical,
the commission, the Historic District Commission
the historic district commission?
works with the building commissioner. In the event of requests for certificates of exemption, or if there's a violation that needs to be penalized.
Okay.
any,
Because that just sounds punitive, like you don't have any recourse.
Right,
And there is a process for
There always
recourse.
be recourse.
Well, there is a process for it.
okay, so we're good with the edits on that one? Okay, so the next one I have, what sort of property features would be governed by the proposed bylaw?
Lots. Because I was reading the warrant article and there's,
Mhm.
a whole list of them.
yeah, it's a long article.
Essentially, it's the exterior facade, the exterior features of the building and property that face public ways, which in the case of this district is 3 sides.
I think you need to say that. Massachusetts General Law prescribe, or 40C.
Mhm.
Prescribes the scope of the proposed historic district bylaw relative to property features it would govern. These include all public facing facades and significant features. Is that
Yeah,
basically the summary?
basically preserves the public's view of the
Yeah.
property.
So these
Preserves the
include
historic
all
nature of
public
that view.
facing facades and significant features in order to preserve the public's view of the historic, of the historic property. And then next paragraph, more specifically, the bylaw defined, the bylaw also defines what historic district committee cannot govern, excluded, or et cetera.
And there's a definition in here of exterior architectural feature.
Good.
This is minor, but should it be the bylaw also defines
That's
rather than in past tense?
Good point.
Good catch.
and then I have, another comment. In the second paragraph of that, of what was number 8. Picking up from a comment about the minutes, that it would say color of paint or color of roofing material, just to make that a little more clear.
Right, okay.
Very good.
Are there any other FAQs that that you guys have thought of that we might be missing or in conversations with other people? Anything that we haven't covered that we think might be of significance to town meeting?
I can't think of any. Probably are, but I can't.
You know, company members are thinking before.
We'll find out.
Yeah, right.
We'll learn how we did.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, but I think
Thank you.
it needs to emphasize that it's a collaborative process and nobody's gonna scoop your house out from under you without, you're having ample opportunity to object throughout the process. So, and people to feel like, they're gonna lose control.
Right. Great. Okay, so that moves on to number 3, agenda item 3, warrant night discussion. So I have that down as April 29th. Is that correct?
Think so.
Should be
Oh, for the league.
for the
League.
league. Yeah, so for
Yeah.
anybody who's not in town meeting or been to town meeting, usually it's the Monday before town meeting starts, the League of Women Voters holds,
29th.
and somebody else can jump in. An information night to go over warrant articles, answer any questions ahead of town meeting. I can be there, and I know some of us are probably already there for other
I'm there for-
articles.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can and want to join, and I think there are,
I'm a town meeting member.
so you're gonna be
so
there
I can
anyway. Let me just pull up how many different rooms there are. So whoever can go, that I think would be great, and we can coordinate where we would be. And if there are only a few of us, we can hop around to different rooms, because they divide town meeting,
Two precincts at a
two
time.
precincts per
Yes.
room.
I'm in G, I'll do that room to start.
I know I'm in E,
I just have
and
to
I'm,
email.
for the planning board, I'm doing 2 rooms. I can't remember if I'm E and F or D and E.
Well, you should do this.
Yes,
as well.
exactly right.
Yeah, so you're in D and E. So you'll take care of that.
I don't know if I'm D or E or E or F.
Well, D and E are together.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. I have it in front of me.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And I'm an I in, I'm an I.
Okay, so we have one that's A, B, C. D, E, Adam, you'll be there.
Mhm.
F and G, I'm F, so I can,
I'm in G. We can split.
or I can do another one, so you'll be there anyway.
Yeah.
Bob, Mo,
I'm an I don't know. if
so
that-
I is
that-
HIJ.
HIJ meet together? the
Yep,
three?
so you'll take that, and then I don't mind taking A, B, and C,
That covers it.
and then anybody else is welcome to
Well,
join.
Article 42, right?
Yes.
There's also the Zoom as well.
Oh, there is a Zoom option.
And
Yes, I missed that.
What I can do is I can coordinate with Madam Chair right after this meeting, get that list, and I can also provide that to the select board. And
Okay,
let them know that there will be members of this committee, should there be questions, should they wish to. How
Right.
many members wish to speak to members of the committee, they should
sure.
be present and ready to speak.
Okay,
in all the terms.
great.
Do you need?
Do we need
the
somebody
Zoom?
for Zoom?
And
Yeah, do you want to, are you
if
volunteering to Zoom in?
Yeah.
Great.
be right to town meeting members to
Yeah.
attend and. I would just again say, the select board is the proponent of this article and I'm sure. I won't speak for them, but I can only assume they'd be welcoming of members of this committee being able to speak to what's.
Okay.
Within the warrant article.
And then Gloria volunteered to do Zoom, so I'll put you down.
And then do you present this article at town meeting, or the select board does and you, or?
Good question.
So this
Who's the
The
proponent?
select board is.
this
Yes,
article.
they're presenting it,
Yes.
and we're available for
Correct.
We get
questions.
to take-
Do we know who's presenting it?
Not officially, no, those haven't been fully
Okay.
firmed up.
Thanks.
Unofficially? No, I'm kidding.
So,
Unofficially, yes, but I also don't remember.
that's fine. So just, okay, so so it's jumping ahead to the next one. So that's, so they will present it, and then we're available, should there be, good, but they probably can
all
answer all the
up at the
questions
table, right?
anyway.
Well, I think.
I
it's
think we
like
can
someone
figure out
calls
those
the question.
logistics.
I would defer to the select board.
Yeah, we can figure those logistics out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then
happy
it's
to
the question of, do we jump up to the front?
That would be if they want us to, or if they have questions for the committee that they can't
Right.
answer. Okay,
Yeah, they're the proponent.
So
If
then
they
we
want
can
us,
coordinate.
they'll tell us.
great.
And then, do we have any more meetings proposed between now and the league or town meeting?
We do not,
I don't know that we need one. I think it sounds like our FAQs are gonna be clearly
If-
resolved.
yeah. I think if you send that around one more time, and if there's feedback to send it to me
Right,
and copy Miles,
Yeah.
then we can have a final draft. When do you need the final draft out for this?
I would prefer to have that next week when,
Oh,
but this would be, my understanding is we could plate this on the website, or rather submit this to the select board on behalf of the committee to place on the website as the proponent. The moderator, will be speaking with proponents tomorrow to discuss, his intent for how communication from proponents will go out.
got it.
Do you want a motion that empowers you and Miles to make the final edits? Without having to have another meeting?
so moved,
Good.
That works.
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are you okay with that?
It's fine. All those in favor of Mo's motion, or
Yeah.
Adam's motion, Adam's
My
motion.
second.
All right, good, thank you. Okay. Any other items that we have not discussed that have been, that you think we should?
We're good.
Good. I think
I
we did
just was-
some good work.
You do. This
Yeah,
is very
in 6
productive.
meetings.
This is a very productive committee that.
Well done, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Yes.
Excellent. A great outcome.
I'd
Thank
like
you.
to express my gratitude to the committee and to the chair.
My pleasure.
And to Miles.
Yes, thank you, Miles.
Yes.
Wonderful organizing work, seriously.
Yes.
As do I. Commission's been working on this talking about this for a long time. And very happy it finally got into an implementation stage.
Good.
Right.
Almost there. All right.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Miles, can
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you remind me how to get onto the site again? I haven't